Okay, moving on to the last and final segment of today's show. Even though the NFL playoffs have been going, I want to talk a little bit about the head coaching hires that have been made over the past week. And I wanted to have Andrew on today's show because you guys know he's a big Jet guy. I'm a big Jet guy. And I wanted to give him the lead to talk about the New York Jets hiring the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh. Last week, Andrew and I did a segment predicting each opening where what coach would fit best at each spot. Andrew called Robert Saleh to the Jets. He loves this hire. I like the hire. It wouldn't have been my first choice, but Andrew may just convince me otherwise. So my guy, take the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. So I just absolutely, I love this Robert Saleh pick. I mean, first of all, this guy has had a top defense in the last 3 years in the NFL, and he's been able to transform players into their full potential. And I'm so excited about Quinn Williams, man. This dude could take the next step. Defensive Player of the Year type material with fucking Robert Saleh. So that's one thing I love. And the next thing, man, he brings on a really good staff with him. I mean, Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur, the brother of Matt LaFleur, man. The guy's an offensive mastermind, and he's an up-and-coming mind, and that's what the Jets needed, you know? I wouldn't be surprised, you know, he runs a very solid West Coast offense, which fits Sam Darnold perfectly. We keep him, man. We get a playmaker, Devonta Smith or something like that. So, yeah, but I love Solomon because he brings the energy, something that Gase never did. You know, we had 2 years in the doldrums with Gase, always avoiding the hard questions, not being a speaker, fighting with his players. Robert Saleh is a guy that players like, players love to play for. And you know what, man? I mean, Richard Sherman said it great, man. This guy, I love playing for him. I wish him the best. And I know the Jets got a good hire, so it's good. It's a guy who can
that's a guy that has won a Super Bowl, bro. That's a guy, Richard Sherman. He doesn't say that about everyone.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Richard Sherman. This guy, man, I think he changes our whole culture. Players want to play for us.
The whole attitude, bro. I'm excited, bro.
You could see the difference in New York now, man. Jets are headed for the right direction.
Dude, it's funny because I remember towards the back end of the regular season, right? We had Adam freaking Gase as our head coach, a guy that we all knew at the time was an awful hire. But we saw some glimmers of hope, bro. We saw Sam Darnold have some moments. We saw this Jet team beat the Los Angeles Rams, the best defense in football. No one expected that to happen. How about the Cleveland Browns? We saw what the Jets were able to do against them. So when you look at this whole situation, dude, now we have a guy that, as you said, players want to play for him. And also, the offense is going to be more modern. You know, dude, what wins in the NFL these days. There's a reason why, and we're going to get to it in a second, young coaches like Brandon Staley and, Robert Saleh and McVay and all Zach Taylor of the Bengals, Arthur Smith, we're going to get into him in a bit. There's a reason why all these young coaches before are getting hired. It's because they're smart. I didn't want Doug Peterson. Neither did you. I didn't want Bill Cowher when those rumors came out. No. We have our guy, dude. I like hiring a coordinator. I understand the fans that say, oh, Robert Saleh is a defensive coordinator, and historically, that hasn't really worked out with our franchise. But no, this dude, we could feel it, as you said, bro. We could feel the energy already. We could feel the passion that he is going to be willing to give to this franchise and the culture that I think he's going to be building. And as you said, Quinnen Williams, man, that's got to be optimistic about on defense. Bryce Hall, I'm willing to say the same thing about him. Maybe Marcus May is back next year. We got some dogs on this defense, man. And look, let's get Sam Darnold some weapons, improve the offensive line a little bit. Becton's obviously a great start. Let's see what we can do with that number 2 pick, and let's go to work.
Yeah, man. I mean, if we don't get to Deshaun Watson, man, Devonta Smith is calling our name at number 2. Or we can even trade back and get a great weapon. One more thing is, Saleh, dude, he brings out players that like him, man. I mean, Witherspoon, a young quarterback. Yeah.
You mentioned him last week, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is really going to be a big name. I mean, if the Niners can't sign him because of their cap space situation, sign him, man. Get Lattimore. And you know what? One thing I like, Saleh was a linebackers coach before all of this, before defensive coordinator. You know what? You know what that tells me? That tells me C.J. Mosley's a very happy man because this guy's going to get all the coaching. This guy's going to be a system where he's going to thrive. And I wouldn't mind seeing I wouldn't be surprised if C.J. Mosley is the Pro Bowler next year.
Yeah, dude, it's funny because you forgot about him, man. C.J. Mosley is a guy that opted out of this season, and I still believe, man, I remember having this conversation with you midway through the Jet season in 2019 when it was just falling apart, Adam Gase's first year. And I just remember talking to you about the fact that when I looked at this Jet team, Jamal Adams, C.J. Mosley, some guys on the defensive line, Sam Darnold at quarterback, Le'Veon Bell at running back, I thought that maybe this Jet team could be somewhat good, and they sucked that year. And Quinnen Williams is improvement, man. He was looking like a bust after his first year, man. Like we all agreed, but he really was able to show some promise. He played for Nick Saban, bro. He was dominant, and he's making some nice progress here. What other guys or positions on this Jet team going towards this offseason do you think Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas need to improve?
Well, I think another big thing is, even just getting a number one at free agency is not a bad idea. I mean, you got Allen Robinson, you got, Chris Godwin, and a lot of other guys, Galladay on the free agency market. You trade back, maybe get, Jamar Chase, or, maybe, Tyler, Pitts.
Kyle Pitts, yeah.
Kyle Pitts, man. He could be the George Kittle of the East Coast, and that.
I like that, bro. I like it.
Exactly, and I like him way over Herndon. Imagine the haul we get. Go back to 8. Get 2 first rounder. Gives us a lot of opportunity to get young studs on the deep team. And one more thing is, I think Becton's going to feast, man. I mean, under this West Coast offense, a lot of stretch plays, and you saw Becton.
Dude, I got to tell you, man, the more you're talking about it, I don't know who you want. If the Jets stay at 2, I don't know who you want to draft, but I think our offensive line, man, it could improve. I don't necessarily know if I want to draft Sewell now. I was kind of sold on him, but maybe we could draft Devontae Smith, bro. Or trade back, bro. I would be fine with trading back. Yeah. If a team wants a quarterback, if a team falls in love with Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, you know how quarterback desperate teams get on draft day. Last year, this time, no one thought Justin Herbert was going to be so heavily commodited, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and if we get a haul, man, even better. And, the great thing about this season is we're going to have a lot of free agents. We're going to have a lot of salary cap space, and we can make some trades with other teams to get good players for cheap. I think this team is a possible playoff team next year with the culture change. And, the players we signed, we got $70 million in cap space. So, and the one key thing I want, the one key thing player I want to resign is Marcus Smith. We gotta keep him in green. I mean, this dude's flying all over.
He had a good year.
He did, and I think him and Ashton Davis can be a dynamic duo.
We finally got some young talent to be excited about, dude. Yeah. In Robert Saleh's scheme, as you said in San Francisco, there were young guys that were getting better and better and better that were developing under Robert Saleh's system. DeForest Buckner, Art Armstead, they didn't hit their peak until Robert Saleh was their DC. Nick Bosa had a monster rookie year, and I remember, dude, in 2019, it was early in the season, man. I was watching Robert Saleh's San Francisco 49ers defense take on the Los Angeles Rams. That was when they still had Todd Gurley, who was one of the best running backs in the league at the time, and they had 4 straight stops on 4th and goal at the 1, and you just see this guy Robert Saleh going bonkers. He's flexing. The players love to play for him. Dude, it's a good time to be Jet fan, man. Maybe, it's different, man. You know how passionate we are about this team. We know that we've been rooting for this team to get back to the Super Bowl for a long time. And look, if the Cleveland Browns could be good, if the Buffalo Bills could be good, I don't want to hear the nonsense that the Jets are cursed, that Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to come to us because we were so poorly run. No, dude, we got one of the best head coaches in this cycle. I'm excited. It's a good time to be a Jet fan, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Let's see what we can get. And, man, this culture is different. This is not the same Jets team. Last thing, man, ever since Rex Ryan came, we didn't have a personnel in the locker room, a guy that could lead us to wins. And I think this guy has the persona similar to Rex Ryan, except he doesn't, give bulletin board material. So let's go Jets, baby, man.
All right, let's get into some of the other hires. I'll tell you one I really liked, one I called. That was the Atlanta Falcons and their decision to hire Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans. Andrew, my man, I got to tell you, I love this hire. Mm-hmm. I think Matt Ryan is still capable to win a division, maybe. The Saints are going to be much worse next year. I think the Buccaneers, they'll be good. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I think that when you look at the whole thing going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and everything, I think that the division is going to be wide open. And I'm curious for your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Arthur Smith was a really solid hire. You have a guy that can, run the play action game a lot, and you got great receivers.
He turned Ryan Tannehill around.
Yeah, and imagine Matt Ryan, a former MVP. I think this dude can untap the remaining potential.
It was about time The Falcons gave Matt Ryan an offensive head coach. He had Mike Smith, his rookie year, defensive coach. They bring in Dan Quinn, who is a good coach for a year, but you saw how good Matty Ryan was playing for Kyle Shanahan and that scheme. That's one of the reasons why you said it, and I agreed about the Jets. One of the main reasons why we're so excited about the Sal hire is because you're bringing in the Shanahan Mike LaFleur system that puts men in motion on 70% of the plays. As Jet fans, that is something we haven't seen in a long time, and I think Falcon fans would agree. Matt Ryan still has some talent left. Maybe they keep Julio. Maybe they keep Calvin Ridley. I'm curious to see who he brings in as his defensive coordinator. They have some talent on that defense. Let's see if they can improve.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Falcons, they've been underachieving for a long time, especially with the weapons. I love that they have Julio and Ridley on the same opposite sides, man. A very deadly duo and really unguardable, both of those guys. So, I think the future is bright in Atlanta. They're in win-now mode, and, they have a top pick.
There's no reason why they can't be a wild card next year.
There's no reason, and, I think Matt Ryan has shown that he can play in the playoffs. And, maybe this is his shot back at the Super Bowl. Maybe he gets another few years.
Moving on to the next hire, I want to talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions and their decision to hire Dan Campbell. And I understand when people look at this Dan Campbell hire by Detroit, they're going to say, wow, this wasn't really the most popular hire. But I'll tell you this, Andrew, Detroit is not an ideal job. They are going to be rebuilding going into this season. They are by far and away the least talented team in their division. And I do think, in simple facts, the Detroit Lions hired Matt Patricia. One of the main reasons why they hired Matt Patricia a couple years ago was because he was a big scheme guy. They believed that his defensive scheme was going to win them games and that he was just going to outsmart everyone. How did that work out? We know it didn't work out very well. So my opinion now is this. I think the reason why the Lions decided to hire Dan Campbell was because he's the opposite of scheme guy. Kind of in the same way as Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. A guy that is going to have players motivated for him. And in simple terms, if you're an assistant coach for Sean Payton, not only an assistant coach, an associate head coach, the top assistant head coach for Sean Payton, you deserve a job.
Yeah, I think, this is a good hire. Considering, he comes from the Sean Payton coaching tree. Maybe he can, turn Matt Stafford, who has a strong arm.
I'll tell you what, man. If I'm them, I think they're going to trade Stafford.
Yeah,
San Francisco. I'm going to call this trade right now. San Francisco's first-round pick, number 13, to Detroit for Matt Stafford.
That's a good, we'll see if that happens, man. I wouldn't be surprised either. But, if they keep Stafford, then, I think he has a few years left. And, I get it. The Lions have a long way to go. But, they have a few pieces, Okuda and then Swift in the backfield. So, we'll see how it goes, man. But I like the hire. Anyone from the Saints coaching tree, I think brings a good offensive mind and mindset. And, let's see where they can go from here.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. This team just fell apart because I actually, before this season, had the Detroit Lions making the playoffs. That's how nuts I was. I looked at Stafford, Galladay, the running game would be improved, I thought. And the defense has some names. Jamie Collins, guys like that from the Patriots. It didn't work out with Matty Patricia. And we'll see how Dan Campbell does. Hopefully Jeff Okudah starts to play a little bit well in a Quinnen Williams type way. You see that comparison a little bit? Both disappointing their rookie year. Yeah. Let's see if Okudah will turn it around. And if I'm them, I'm telling you, I'm trading Stafford.
Yeah, I think, if they don't think they can win now, I think that's a smart decision. But hopefully Okudah, they both play hard positions as a rookie. And, he got lit up a few games. But, he can turn into Jalen Ramsey, a shutdown cornerback. They can have a really solid defense.
Moving on to the last and final hire we'll be discussing. The Los Angeles Chargers. They hired Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams. And Andrew, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad hire. But at the same time, dude, I was surprised they made it. Because I thought they were going to hire Brian Daboll, a guy that we saw really develop Josh Allen. He also went to high school with the Chargers general manager. They interviewed. So I thought Brian Daboll was going to get the Chargers job. But at the same time, when you look at everything that's been going on, the Bills are keep on winning. That means that the Chargers can't hire their coach yet if they want a Daboll. So they hire Brandon Staley. The Rams lose. And I'll say this about Brandon Staley. I understand that hiring the young coach is the way to go, and he's in Los Angeles already. He's familiar with the city. That's all good. But he's only been coaching in the NFL for 3 years. And I understand he got hired by Vic Fangio in Chicago at the time as their linebackers coach. And Vic Fangio is a very respected defensive mind. And when I listen to podcasts, I listened to an interview with him of Peter King. He sounds like a very smart guy. And the Rams have the best defense in football this year. And I understand they have Aaron Donald. I understand they have Jalen Ramsey. But one aspect we didn't discuss about the Rams that is a discussion for another day is the fact that they're in salary cap hell. Their team is built around 7 players. And 2 of them were injured this past weekend. And we saw how bad they were and how much that affected them. And I understand Sean McVay's a genius coach, but at the same time, when I look at Brandon Staley, it's a gutsy hire by the Chargers.
Yeah, I think so. And I would have went a different direction because, I think I would have wanted an offensive-minded head coach, one, because, Justin Herbert's the big name for the Chargers and has, the bright future. So, and I think Dable would have been a really good hire because, this guy developed Josh Allen and, they have similar game styles and body types and all that. So, I think, Dable would have been a smart hire. A little questionable, but, like you said, it's a gutsy pick with a young guy. Let's see what he can do in this league.
Yeah, dude. So when you look at the final question of today's show, I'm going to throw this to Andrew. We have 2 openings right now. The Eagles and the Texans. Which job do you think is worse and why?
I think, honestly, I'm going to just go with the Eagles because, let me just say why I don't think that the Texans have that bad because, okay, sure, they're in salary cap hell right now. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of players, trade J.J. Watt or release him. And, but the one thing they do have is Deshaun Watson, a proven quarterback that teams will pay for. So, you know what? They have no draft picks, first-round picks this year. Trade Deshaun Watson, they're loaded with draft picks for the next couple of years all of a sudden. They can get a loot from him. And I think that, Philadelphia doesn't offer that. Sure, Philadelphia has a young quarterback in Jalen Hurts, but at the same time, he's not proven. He's not elite. They don't have a solid... They're in salary cap hell as well.
Dude, let me tell you this, man. Yeah. I actually disagree. Let me tell you why.
Yeah, let me see.
So, maybe I'm just a Carson Wentz homer, man. I understand. I'm a big Carson Wentz fan, and I was a big supporter of him and the Eagles going into this year, and it bit me in the ass. I predicted the Eagles to be one of the best teams in the NFC. I'll admit that. But I think him and Doug Peterson's relationship was just done. After Nick Foles and them winning a Super Bowl, it just got awkward, bro. I've seen Carson Wentz before this season put together very good seasons, and he elevated his teammates the last 2 seasons before this one. I think that if you're a good coach, you could go into Philadelphia with this roster, with Carson Wentz as your quarterback, because let's face it, I don't know if anyone's taking his contract, or Jalen Hurts, whoever. Jalen Hurts isn't bad. He showed flashes. I think they got some talent on this Eagle team. I think the Texans, the fact that they are hiring a new coach, everything that's going on, bro, I think, I'm going to tell you this, man. Maybe I'm just an optimistic Jet fan. I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to be a Houston Texan week 1 next year. I really don't. Maybe I'm just in the moment. Maybe I'm just, dreaming, and maybe it's going to bite me in the ass. But Andrew, let me ask you this. 50-50, yes or no, is Deshaun Watson a Houston Texan week 1 next year?
I think Deshaun Watson has played his last snap as a Texan. So, to answer that question. But
and I think if they make that trade, bro, they're an expansion team. They could go 0-16 if they trade him.
Well, yeah, but I think the future is set. Also, I mean, I wouldn't be, if they
the Eagles have some talent, bro.
They do. They're gonna lose their offensive line is really bad now, so that's one thing.
But you saw with Cleveland, bro. Like you could, and understand.
Really quick, with the right coaching.
Carson Wentz is not this bad, bro. Like maybe I'm just an optimistic homer. Maybe.
No, I think he's a good quarterback. I think the relationship was terrible, like you said. But I think if they hire like Deuce Staley, it wouldn't be the best hire, but like maybe it will work. Maybe they'll just be a little improved. Yeah. But the one thing though, I just think like imagine if they made the trade with Miami. They get Tua Tagovailoa, then they're all right back in it. Because I don't think Tua's a bad guy or Sam Darnold.
Yeah, man.
But we'll see. I would like to see how Carson Wentz does now because I think he's a good quarterback. I mean, he was an MVP candidate, so...
I'm not ready to give up on him just yet.
Yeah, and I don't think they can because that contract's just untradeable.
Absolutely, man. But any other thoughts?
No, nothing right now.
All right, my guy. I just want to say thank you for coming on.
Man.
Really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the week, my brother.
Yeah, man.
Always good talking football.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you.